Good evening, fellas, and good morning to you, CJ.
Buenos dias, JB and Scott. It's morning time here, about 9:30.
Good work. Nice weather. He's going sideways
It's got
now.
sideways.
I'm
Yeah.
back.
Come back the other
Nice
way,
sideways.
Chip. Come back the other way.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take him out of there, brother. So,
Yeah.
we'll get him back on if he can get back on. But we had a bit of trouble with him last week. Checking in from he's in Spain, so
Yeah.
I think he's in Spain. Who knows with CJ? So we'll wait and see, brother. But hey, Scott Cracker, welcome to JB and CJ. Thanks for coming on to share a little bit about your journey. I'm excited because some of the stuff that you do is just amazing. So really looking forward to hearing a little bit about your journey. We've had a few runners on before, but I don't think any, and I'll say this with respect to everyone else, to the caliber of you. There probably is one other one that probably rivals you, and that was Googsy. So
Oh yeah.
Googsy's been on. Yeah, so
I know Googsy Thorpe pretty well. Yeah.
yeah. So he has been on a couple of times, but so I'm looking forward to hearing your journey, and I know CJ was as well. But I just quickly want to just do an acknowledgement to country and just pay respects to all our elders, past, present, and any up and coming, and just pay the utmost respects to all our old people, our ancestors, for getting us where we are today, brother. And looking after us and doing the hard yards. We've probably got it. Sometimes we think we got it hard, but if we think back to where they come from and what they had to go through, I think they did it pretty hard compared to what we do. I just want to acknowledge my mob, the Muddy people down there in southwestern New South Wales, and pay the utmost respects to all our old people. And I also want to acknowledge the Butchulla people where I'm sitting tonight up here in Toowoomba in Queensland. So I'll hand it over to you, Scotty, and just tell us a little bit about yourself. And I've got CJ coming back in now. So over to you, brother Scotty. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Yeah, good timing that you're back, CJ. So I'm just about to introduce myself. So, my name's Scott Cracker. I'm a Menang Noongar man. So that mob's southwest corner of WA. My family grew up around like Mount Barker and Albany, right down the bottom of WA. But although WA is my mob, I'm not a Western Australian. I'm a Victorian. I've grown up my whole life in Melbourne and now down on Wadawurrung country in Geelong. And what brought me across the other side of the country is Dad and my uncle were professional footballers. So they played in the Waffle for Claremont for 5 years, and then were two of the first to make the trip from WA over to the VFL and play for the Kangas during the 80s. So we settled in Victoria and stayed here.
Hey, can I just say to that too, just how amazing Jimmy and Phil Cracker were, and what a legacy they left for other blackfellas to be playing in league as well, and the way they played together was just amazing. So thanks for mentioning that too, Scotty.
100%. And it was something that was never seen before at the time, to have two Aboriginal brothers playing in the same team. So they were trailblazers, and they took the league by storm. And I don't know, we talk about over-representation a lot in a lot of different spaces, like the justice space and child protection. But Noongar people are overrepresented in the AFL because of Dad and Uncle Jim. They were trailblazers when they came over in the early 80s. They were 2 of 8 Aboriginal players in the VFL/AFL. And now 33% of all Aboriginal players in the AFL system are Noongar. So that's kind of the legacy that they've left.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. And well said too. Now, tell it while CJ's trying to fix up, he's making me a bit dizzy there. But keep going, brother, and tell us a little bit about yourself, because I want to hear. I know a little bit about your story, and I'm just sure that everyone else is going to be so intrigued by a little bit about your story as well, brother. So, Yeah.
Yeah, so like Dad, I played footy pretty much my whole life. Played footy from when I was 5 up until 35. Played, a little bit of VFL footy when I was in my teens and early 20s, which is the one standard below the AFL. And then, played across First Division, a lot of the Melbourne Metro leagues throughout the next 15 years. But then retired from footy, and there was a big void in my life. And when you're used to training multiple times a week and then competing on the weekend, that left a hole that I needed to kind of fill in my life. And luckily I had 2 mates that retired at the same time as me, and they said, "Hey, do you want to run a half marathon?" So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that was kind of the start of it. I did that first half, and then that was 2019. I ran 3 halves that year, but I wasn't really training properly at that point. But then what really kind of kick-started it was COVID hit. And then down in Melbourne, we were in lockdown. You could only leave home for an hour a day. So I was like, I may as well use that hour a day to get out and go for a jog. And one thing turned into another. Started jogging 4K a day, 5K a day. And then, quickly that turned into 7, 8, 9, 10. And by October 2020, so towards the end of COVID, we got myself pretty fit. And one of my mates that was kind of living around the corner, we said, "Hey, why don't we just run a marathon for fun around the streets of Melbourne?" So we did that. And then, after that, I was hooked a little bit. But then, it was probably 2021 once proper running events started coming back. Melbourne Marathon kind of, because there were no events throughout 2020 and early 2021. But then once Melbourne Mara got back going towards the end of 21, I signed up. And that first marathon, like being on the start line, and it was probably a little bit different to that at 2021, because it had been a year and 9 months of no events, and everyone was just pumped, and the atmosphere was electric. I couldn't believe it. It was like 6:30 in the morning, and there were 15,000 people just jumping out of their skins, ready to run 42K. And across the line at Melbourne in 2021, and then I was hooked. And then 6.5 years later, I've run 10 now, and I'm just about to run my 11th at Sydney Marathon next year. Not next year, next month.
Now, Scott, I mean, there's a couple of things here I want to point out, and I'm sure CJ wants to have a yarn too. Now, with the we remember back to COVID, because this is how JB and CJ started, was during COVID when we couldn't get back into community to be able to do our work. So we thought what better way was to come on and have a yarn and get people on to tell their stories. And we had a lot of fellas and girls come on from Victoria, Melbourne, and just the state, of being in lockdown, and the most lockdown city in the world. We really felt sorry for you fellas, because look, us being in Queensland, we didn't actually get that side of things. But now for you to say, like you can only get out for 1 hour a day, that brings back memories to what some of our mob and other people were going through as well. And, just that mental side of things that, with the mental health issues and all that sort of stuff that was going. And just with you, with that running, that, and there's such, like, I know for myself, and I'm not in your class, but I don't class myself in that sort of class. But it's like a meditation when you're out there. So can you just tell us a little bit about that thought process when you were in lockdown and those sort of things?
Yeah, well, running kind of saved me during that period, because like I said, you could only leave home for an hour a day. So obviously a lot of the time, that 1 hour when I was out running was like the highlight of the day. It was the only time you got to kind of do anything outside the 4 walls of your house. So I used to love and really look forward to that hour a day. And, I probably went over the hour a few times and ran a little bit further than I shouldn't have. But no, I kind of learned during that time that, your health and your mental health is really within your own control. And if you kind of are proactively getting out there and exercising them, and yeah, looking after your body and looking after your mind, then yeah, I was actually had a much more positive outlook on everything else that was going out because I was getting out and exercising daily.
Yeah, beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Well said. Because I mean, that really does resonate with us from the time that we started JB and CJ. So it really, really means a lot to us. Now, I do. I don't know if CJ's got a question for you, but I'm happy for CJ to jump in and ask a question if you got one, brother. All good. Now you're just talking about your marathons and your half marathons. Now I've been doing a little bit of stalking, brother. I've been doing a little bit of stalking on you
Yeah.
today, and now I thought I was doing all right earlier in the year, running 80k, 80ks, 90ks a week. Now tell us a little bit about your weekly process of how many k's and then we'll talk about the pace as well after that.
Yeah. Yeah, so at the moment, I probably run in between 140 and 150k a week, which is high. I've built up to that over probably 6.5 years. What the thing with running is, it's one of those things. One of the things I absolutely love about it. It's one of those things that you really get out of it what you put in. And the number one thing that's going to help you progress in the sport is consistency. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that I've been consistently. I haven't missed a training week in 6.5 years, and that's why I'm kind of starting to see those results and starting to that I can run that much. And I see that a lot of the time with beginner runners, they don't have the patience and they try to go too fast too quick. They try to run too much before their body's ready for it, and then they break down with injury. But I've been patient and I've been consistent, and I've been able to slowly build up my overall weekly mileage over time. And like you said, now it's up to the point where I'm running probably 140, 150k a week. And probably next month, once I really start getting into, I wouldn't even say that I'm really in proper marathon training yet. That's just kind of my base training. But next month, once I really start to turn my attention to Sydney and Melbourne Mara, I'll probably start pumping out 170, 180.
Yeah, good work, brother. Good work. Now, can you just explain to people out there that sometimes slow is better? So 80% of the time you're running, well, to your own slow pace.
Yeah, so in distance running as a rule, they call it the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your weekly mileage is supposed to be easy conversational pace. So if you were running along with someone, you could have a conversation with us. Very low heart rate. Your heart rate shouldn't go over 120, 130, maybe push into the 140s. But if it's going into the 150s, you're going too fast. So I always run with a heart rate strap, just so I can basically look at my heart rate during my easy runs to make sure I'm not working too hard. And then if I am working too hard, I slow down. And then that 20% is where you do your workouts. So you do your, whether it's a short interval or a tempo run, but that's where you kind of get your quality in. My basic training's made up into 2 sessions a week. One will be shorter reps, less than a mile. And then the other will be a longer tempo effort and then a long run on the weekend. And then the rest is all made up of jogging. So that's pretty much the structure of my week. And I just, it's nothing really special. I just do it repeatedly.
And I know you're saying it's nothing real special, but I now want you to tell people your personal best in half marathon and then in a marathon. And
I'll do the 5 as well. So 5K, my PB is 15:49. 10K, my PB is 32:30, but I've got a 10K race this weekend, so that PB is going down. And then my half marathon PB is 1:11:50, and then my marathon PB is 2:29:46. So
sorry to jump in, brother, because I get excited because I just love this stuff, and and like to hear those numbers, I mean, they're something that people just dream of. You know what I mean? Like, and you being such a humble human being, sitting there, you know, reeling these off, and that's why I asked you to ask them, because I know that you don't go out there and just say I'm
Yeah,
running these sort of times. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
just to hear those numbers, they're just amazing,
yeah.
amazing numbers, brother. So I do
But
want to
yeah,
congratulate
there
you
is
on
a
that.
bit of like, there's a bit of humble. Like I don't know. Maybe it's like Aussie culture. I don't bloody want to toot my own horn too much. But I think a part of it is also like my dad used to always say to me when I was a kid. It's a pretty harsh way of putting it, but he would basically say, "If you sleep with dogs, you get fleas." So that was his saying. He used to say it to me all the time. Basically, just saying, "Yep, make sure you're hanging out around good people and positive role models." And one thing I did early on in my running was and this is the beauty of Strava. So I used to look at guys like Andy and Brett Robinson and some of the best runners in the country, and you can follow all their training and you see exactly what they do. And then I started reaching out to and running was saying if I could run with some of the best runners around Geelong and Melbourne. And now it's got to the point I run with Olympians or I run with some of the best runners that live down in Geelong on the surf coast because so it kind of normalizes that type of behavior and normalizes running that much. It normalizes running that fast. So when you're running, when you're around a whole community and everyone's kind of all your friendship network are all running that fast and all running that much, you kind of think, well, everyone's doing it. But yeah, obviously everyone's not.
Oh, no, look, I mean, you're spot on. And that's the next point, I suppose, because I'm mindful of time too, brother, because
Yeah.
you've been
Yeah.
kind enough to come on and talk to us. Now, you've got something special that you're trying to set up here as well, and we're trying to get on board, and we've
Yeah.
actually asked Scott to be an ambassador for Move for Middenbar, CJ. So
Yeah.
it's something that's close to our heart, and he's agreed to do that. So just tell us a little bit about what you're trying to set up, brother.
Yeah. So there's two things I've seen throughout my 7 odd years in the sport that there's just been a gap with mob getting into distance running and mob that are in distance running, they're not all connected to each other, so everyone's on their own journey. And I find there was a real gap. There was IMF doing their thing, but they were doing it in Canberra, and you've got Tri-Mob doing their thing, and they were doing it in Sydney. So I've actually recently connected with Tri-Mob, and they've got me on board to run Sydney Mara, and I've been named as the First Nations ambassador for Sydney Marathon this year. So I'm really excited about that. But then at the same time, just coincidentally, Lee Troop, who's a 3-time Olympia, lives down here in Geelong. He started organising the Geelong Running Festival, which is a new event that's going to happen September this year. So we started reaching out to mob around Geelong, mob around Victoria that I knew in my networks that were running, and we played a part just connecting a network of runners all around Geelong and Victoria who run, and then connecting them in with Tri-Mob. And we're giving them opportunities to run Geelong, but basically so everyone can follow each other's journey and turn running into a team sport instead of everyone doing it individually.
And I think too, brother, like a couple of times you explained to me too, and like what you were saying before, if you run with the good people, you're gonna well, not necessarily come up to that pace, but you're going to get better and better, aren't you? And I think
100%.
that's
They force you to get to that level, and
and I think that's what you're trying to do with what you're trying to set up is bring other people that haven't had that opportunity to, like they may be just starting off as runners, or they might be seasoned runners that just go out for a jog. But once they get, training with you guys and, like whoever else they're training with, you start to improve.
100%. And that's what I think sometimes people can be their own worst enemy, and they can give up before even trying. And the hardest thing with running sometimes is just putting your shoes on and getting out the door. Because there are times that I don't want to go for a run, but I guarantee you, every time I get back home from a run, I've never regretted. The hardest time is just getting out the door and getting going. Once you're going, I'm always happy that I got out.
So just with that, brother. So if you are starting out running, and you've been doing a bit, and then you don't feel like running, what's the motivation to get yourself running?
Yeah, so I've got a list of motivations as long as my arm, but yeah, well, one is like I put in a lot of work, so I don't want to waste that work just by not showing up and doing it. I know that being consistent is the way forward. So, but also I've got a lot of like family motivations. Like I want to set the right example for my kids. Like my kids do fun runs now because they think it's normal that you go out and run, because my wife runs now as well.
Oh, beautiful.
But also probably my old man, he played footy during the 80s, but he's now had a double knee replacement and struggles to walk more than 20, 30 meters. So yeah, I don't want to be that grandparent that can't play with my grandchildren because I haven't looked after my health in my 30s and 40s. And I've had aunties, uncles, cousins that all pass away in their 50s and 60s, and I don't want to be another statistic. I want to be, living as long as healthy a life as anyone else.
And we had that yarn too, Scott. Like like your dad, he's not old. How old is he?
Yeah, Dad's 66,
66.
so he's not that old. But Dad's got that mentality sometimes because his mum passed away in her 50s, and he's had brothers and sisters that pass away in their 50s and 60s. So he says, "Oh, I'm old," and I've said, "Dad, you're not old." But I think sometimes mob have that mentality that they are when they're not really, and they've got a lot of living left.
Yeah, plenty of fun. Yeah, mate. How you going, Scotty? Very inspirational, brother.
Yeah,
I'm 66, by the way, so
yeah,
yeah, we're still pretty young at that age, and I think that just listening to you, your time and running in marathons over that period of what six years, for someone like a novice coming into this sort of stuff. And I'm hearing what you're saying in terms of that 80-20 stuff as well, but it has to be comfortable at the beginning, hasn't it? Really, Marathon is a marathon, so you need to be able to get to the end of the marathon at whatever pace you can, and make it comfortable so that it's enjoyable as well. You know what I mean? We really need that. I know you do. You probably enjoy it. I know Jack does. He loves it. And it's great fun, but. For me, running a marathon is not great fun for me. I don't know about, you know what I mean? It sounds like a world of pain. I used to play a lot of league, and after a game on Sunday, I'm towards the end anyway. I was struggling to get back on the field the next week. You know what I mean? Until I got back on the field, I was good, but just getting over all the soreness and all that sort of stuff took me a whole 7 days before I could get back on the field again. And then once I'm on the field, I'm good. So I would imagine that'd be the same in terms of running. Like, I suppose, and being in your happy place. It's amazing. But what you managed to do over the 6 years, mate, that's absolutely inspirational. And I hope you keep going with it, and inspiring a lot of those young fellas out there, to get into a bit of running, I suppose. You know what I mean? I think we sometimes I believe that our mob are built for that type of stuff. You can see, you mentioned the Cracker Boys. I watched a couple of highlights just recently over here, and amazing. You know what I mean? They just it's like they're in their backyard playing footy, kicking the footy around. You know what I mean? It's really interesting.
100%.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, listen, I'm going to say thanks for joining us in case I drop out again. My problem is with my phone, and this happened last week as well, JB, that it gets really hot and it shuts off. Yeah, so which is interesting. I didn't really realize this has only happened to me while I'm in Spain. So, but yeah, so
we'll have to get you on that laptop next time, brother.
Yeah, I might have to jump on my computer next time. I think, JB.
You
You just catch me out. I'm by 9 o'clock I'm looking for a coffee. So so I tend to just what do you call it, muscle memory. You just go and get a coffee, and then I realise it's Wednesday. I've got to get on JB, and all I got is my phone. So, but next week, mate, I'll be back in Bali. So we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Now, Scotty, I mean, I know we're time poor for you, so we're going to let you go. Just if you got any last minute comments you want to make? We really appreciate you coming on tonight and having a yarn with us. So I've loved it. I love hearing the amazing times and just the endeavour that you have to be able to keep running and doing what you do, brother. So I do congratulate you on everything that you do because I just think it's an amazing achievement. And I know you're a very humble man, and that's okay too. We love that about you because you're such a unassuming fella, like not out there talking it up like I am. So I'm talking you up, brother. So, yeah.
No, well, I think when you've got a marathon PB of 2:29, you don't have to. You can let your feet do the talking. So
yeah,
That's beautiful, bro. I love that. Yeah.
All right. But the main point is the mob, we've reached the top standard of every single other sport in the country, but there hasn't been a mob that's reached the top standard of distance running, and there's no reason why we can't. Like you said, CJ, we are built for this, and it's just about getting some representation so other mob can see that, hey, we can do this, because there's nothing that we can't do. So that's what I want to do. Nice.
Yeah, beautiful. And look, as I said to you, brother, we've now introduced Scott to Mibbenbar and our move for Mibbenbar CJ. So we're going to try and get Scotty working with him to be able to run a few events for us over in the next bit. So yeah, hopefully we're able to achieve that. And all the best, Scotty, for what you're doing now. And when's the Sydney Marathon?
Yeah, so Sydney's 6 weeks away, so 30th of August. And then I'm running a half marathon. I'm doing the half marathon at Geelong in 9 weeks. And then I'm doing Melbourne Marathon in 12 weeks. So it's a busy couple of weeks there from late August through to mid-October.
Fantastic, brother. Fantastic.
Maybe sounds like you might be in and around Canberra around September, you reckon?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
There you go.
Could be, yeah.
It might be a change of date now, though, brother. It might be November. So
we'll have a yarn. Okay, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scotty. Amazing, mate. Just keep doing what you're doing, and keep on running and keep on inspiring others, brother. Yeah, that's you're doing a great job, mate.
And as I said, amazing stuff, brother. So keep going, and I loved hearing the stories about your dad and uncle, and I've been fortunate enough to meet him a couple of times. Fantastic.
No worries, guys. Cheers for having me on.
Thanks, brother, and talk to you soon, eh?
Yeah, sounds good. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best, mate. Yeah. Wow, what a young bloke, mate.
Oh, mate, look, seriously, I'm doing a little bit of coaching in a leadership course, and he's one of my coachees. I mean, how do you think I feel like having a yarn to him? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and like he says, and it's the same with everything. If you want to become something and do something, you need to be you need to be with the same right sort of people.
100%, 100%.
So people that want to go and do that have same.
No, definitely, brother. Look, I think we've lost CJ again. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it a night tonight. Thank you so much for CJ coming on, and thanks to Scotty Cracker for coming on and sharing a little bit about what he's doing. I really recommend that, and not just for the running side of things, but for the like the whole resilience, the whole strength thing. I'd love for people to get on board and try and just support Scotty for what he's doing in his new endeavor as well. He's trying to set up this business around running and movement in general for our mobs. You know what I mean? So look, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined us, and we will see